Hey, it's Mike with Tech BB, and today we are going to talk about the Inspire BFG series. Now, before we start the video, you know, the internet's going to be abuzz with, well, they ripped off the Air Challenger. They totally stole the idea of the WGP MG7. No, they did not. Okay, in paintball, you can license someone else's work, and you do it legally, and you can license someone else's design and try to make their design better and sell it as your own. It's perfectly legal. Evan with Pinocchio did it with the, did it with the Ricochet loaders, and Inspire, did it with WGP and or Air Challenger. They secured the rights to use the design, the internal design, and basically made the exterior, the cosmetics as they wanted it. But all the paperwork is in place. Nobody ripped off anybody. Everybody relax, okay? It's very good business sense, and it's a way to save yourself if, for any potential paintball gun designers that are out there that want to hit the market. It's a way to save yourself an incredible amount of money. Take a proven design that maybe not a lot of people are buying right now and see if you can, repackage it, maybe do some tweaks and stuff like that and make it a little bit better. Well, that's what's going on here. The internals of the gun originally belonged to a gun called the Air Challenger MG7 Plus, okay? It's basically a dump valve type gun, kind of like a G3 on the inside. That worked for a little bit, and then WGP also attempted to market the MG7 as their own. That didn't really take off too well. Now Inspire is basically probably making the best design for the gun. Is they're repackaging the chassis and the internals and stuff like that and putting it into a rugged looking exterior mil-sim type paintball gun. But a lot of people, that's just that's just an Air Challenger, yada yada yada. Okay, well, you also got to understand that with paintball guns, it's been history has proven in paintball, take a proven design and make the cosmetic changes that players that are looking for. Mil-sim style paintball guns, you look at the MTAC is basically a repackaged Mark. You look at the X7 is almost like a repackaged A5. Okay, you look at the RAP4, which is the internals is a blowback style paintball gun, just like the Azodin or the Spider, and then you look at the VF Tactical, which is basically a repackaged autococker. You take a look at the SP1, which is basically a repackaged Ion or a Vibe, and you look at the TM7 or the TM15, which is basically a repackaged Mini. So this is not anything new that we've done in paintball. Take a proven design and then make the exterior changes for players that are looking for this type of aesthetic. So let's go ahead and get past that, because I keep seeing it in the forums. Hey, ripped off engine. No, they didn't fucking rip off anybody. But anyway, there are certain guns that sometimes we test here at Tech BB that we really feel bad about in terms of not showing the guns any love or respect whatsoever on the field. And the Inspires were like that. These were basically our, rental guns to our friends for about the past 3 months. And I gotta say, they performed great. We basically handed them around here at Tech BB like a peace pipe. And any of our friends that wanted to come out and play woods ball with us and stuff like that, we just handed them these, and they performed awesome the whole time we had them. No problem at all. Many of them were able to figure it out for themselves. We'll get into that a little bit more at the conclusion, but it's a real simple process. You've got a one-button operation on the back. It's not like a Tipman where you've got to find a stupid stick to stick in through the front. It's got a nice recessed button, a bright LED on the back that tells you it's on. It's got a 3-position selector switch with a nice positive click. So it's, it's not like, is it in the middle or not? I mean, it's click, click, click. It's got a nice detent system that clicks it into place. And probably one of the best parts about it is that it fits all Tippmann A5 accessories. So it uses A5 stocks, A5 barrels, and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and start unpackaging these and show you what comes in the box. Now this one here is the SMG. Get a nice little O-ring set, get a barrel plug, not really digging that. You get 2 types of almost, worthless style feed necks. I didn't particularly use really either one of these. They do have, the feed neck that I used is very similar to the Ego or even the SP1. Basically how it works is it's got a stovepipe that comes up, and I'll show you this in the disassembly. It's got its own clamping feed neck that goes down over the top. And for a lot of people that may be wondering, does it fit you know, regular loaders and this, that, and the other. Yes, it does fit all standard loaders that are out there. You put a Halo on here, Pinocchio, Rotor, Prophecy, you name it. You can stick it on top of the, you know, on top of the Inspire, no problem at all. And it clamps down, so you don't have to worry about the loader coming off. And let's go ahead and take a look at the Inspire AR. Now this one, the Inspire SMG comes with a barrel, a nice little ported barrel, and it also comes with a barrel shroud, and it also comes with a stock that would also fit a Tippmann A5. So those are the two main accessories. Makes it look like a little submachine gun. The AR basically is a kind of a rendition of an AR, like an AR-15. Okay, it comes with like the M16 style foregrip here, which you can clamp down once you get it positioned, then you clamp it down with the set screws, and it also comes with a adjustable car stock. So not much really else inside of the box other than that, but pretty much the biggest difference is going to be the barrels, the stocks, and stuff like that on the going between the difference between the AR and the SMG. So let's go ahead and, oh, and also does come with a nice little manual. Shows you, how to take the battery out, which we'll get to once we start taking it apart, and shows you how to take the gun apart, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and take the guns apart really quick, and then we'll come back and do a conclusion. Okay, now let's go ahead and start taking the gun apart. Now, when you completely disassemble this gun, it's going to come apart a lot like a Tippmann. It's a complete clamshell style design that completely comes apart. But let's go ahead and let me show you the feed neck that I preferred, that I used the whole time I had the gun. Now basically, as you can see, what I did was I put a little bit of blue Loctite on here, took a pair of pliers, clamped it down, then you slide this over the top of it, tighten it down, you're good to go. So that's basically the preferred clamping feed neck design. That's the one that I use most often. We'll go ahead and just take that off just for fun. Set that aside. Now, there is something that is going to trip some people up that I noticed, okay? The Allen keys to tighten the feed neck are metric, okay? This uses a 3mm Allen key. But the Allen keys that are used to take the gun apart are standard. So just as a heads up, as you can see here, this is, we're taking apart the, we're going to start taking apart the stock. That does trip some people up in that, they start taking the gun apart and everything's looking good, and then they go to try to adjust the clamp and feed neck. But you got to understand, these guns were designed overseas. Where they're from? Sweden, I think. So let's go ahead and start taking apart the screws here to remove the stock. Now this is actually how you get into replace the battery. There we go. Okay, I'll put those big bolts aside. Out comes the stock, and then inside there is the battery. There we go. So that's how you replace the battery. Now, you don't have to use the stock if you don't want to. Both of the markers do come with a plug so that in case, if you're running a remote line, you can run the stock. If you don't want to run the remote line and you want to use, put a bottle right into the bottom, which is the preferred method I like to, you can put a plug right there and it'll hold your battery in place. But that's where the battery goes in. So let's go ahead and set that aside. Now, taking the gun apart, you are going to have to unscrew a lot of screws. Let's go ahead and remove the shroud. Now, like I said, the shrouds and on both the AR and the SMG are held in place. There are some set screws that'll clamp onto it to make sure that it's indexed properly. Now, something else that they come with these little barrel supporters that go in through the front here. Now, what's kind of cool about that is if you get shot head on, if you size it properly, it will reduce the amount of paint that goes inside of the gun. So cool. So let's go ahead and start taking it apart. I'm going to start unscrewing all of the screws. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on this side. So I'm going to start unscrewing the screws. You need to make a quick correction. I said that all the screws here are standard. That's actually false. The two top screws here are standard, but all of these are, these little ones that are around the trigger frame are metric. These use the 2.5 millimeter. There we go. And then now, one of the most important things when you take it apart, they have a rail here that holds the gun together for you. So when you put it together, you can just basically slide this rail here down there, and it'll hold everything in place while you screw the bolts down. So let's go ahead and slide that off. You do need to be careful because the selector switch is on this side. Now you can get into here, you can start to see the internals of the gun. You can see this is where the battery harness is. Now let's go ahead and unscrew the two screws that are holding the body on the other side. Oh, I'm sorry, the chassis. I'm just holding it in place with my fingers here so it doesn't fall. Okay, now this should lift up and out. There we go. Now we don't have to lift this completely up and out in order to, you know, get to the bolt, which is probably the most important thing. But you just kind of want to raise it up so you can at least get access to the back cap here. Let's go ahead and get the Allen key to remove the bolt. Like I said, it's going to resemble a G3, very closely resemble a G3. Let's go ahead and push it out with our finger. There we go. Push the bolt out. Okay. Let's go ahead and align these so you can see how this goes together. There we go. So basically, uses like a, it's like, I think they believe they call this like a clapper solenoid. But as you can see, you know, Venturi bolt, flat face, which I really like, especially with today's smaller bolt. You know, the smaller paintball design doesn't, you know, the ball doesn't go as far back. As you can see, it's just basically a dump valve. Slides forward, dump valve out. That's it. So that's how you take apart the bolt. Now we're going to take apart the regulator. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take apart the regulator. Now, probably one of my favorite things about this gun is that the regulator is in identical design to the Bob Long Alias regulator. It's a proven design. Basically unscrew the bottom half, use a pair of needle nose pliers, pull out the piston, out will come a coin and a spring, and that's it. You've got your adjustment screw down at the bottom. Now something that they did on this regulator, which I really like, and this is for people that are a little deeper into paintball, is that they actually drilled a hole in the bottom of it, which is something I wish that that Bob Long did on his. They actually drilled a hole through the bottom to prevent the airlock. So if air bleeds past the piston, you get that airlock where there's the same amount of pressure on the bottom as is on top, and it doesn't move. But for people that may be a little more advanced in the paintball, there is a hole at the bottom of the adjustment screw and also at the bottom of the coin here. That way there's no what do you call it, hydrolock or airlock or something like that. And what that basically does, it makes it a much better performing regulator than if it did not have that hole at the bottom. Most of the regulators in these days, they have a vent to atmosphere air hole down at the bottom of the regulator here, so that if any air does leak past, it doesn't cause that hydrolock or that airlock to cause all sorts of velocity inconsistencies. Very nice design. So basically what we're going to do here, we got a little bit of a monkey poo lube. You can get this from oringmonkey.com. I don't know, I like it. It works pretty good. No problems with monkey poo at all. Go ahead and drop the coin in there. Go ahead and drop the spring back in there. Let's go ahead and throw some lube on the O-ring. But I really like this design of regulator. It's very simple. It works great, and you know, it's a proven design. It's worked on aliases for years, and screw it back in through the bottom. That's it. That's all it takes to service the regulator. So now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and take apart the bolt. And we'll throw a little bit of monkey poo on here. So put a little bit on the inside of the can here, on the outside, on that O-ring. But I mean, you know, these guns have got to have probably 15 cases through them each, and they have not broken a ball yet. Now, I haven't quite worked up the nerve to stick my finger down into the breech, but I mean, they are gentle on paint. Now, I mean, also we shoot good paint. You know, we're not putting junk white box in. Like I said in one of my first videos, garbage in equals garbage out. You know, you put good paint in your guns and they're going to shoot good. So we've always put good paint into these guns, and they've always shot good. I mean, if the ball's broken before it gets to the gun, you know, no matter what kind of gun you're shooting, it's not going to fix it when it's in the breech. So all right, let's throw a little bit on here. There we go. And now one of the most important things, it does have a spring here in the back that holds everything in place. You definitely need to make sure that's in position. Okay, and it all slides into the gun as one unit, clicks into place. Now let's go ahead and find the back cap, which is right here. Okay, we'll line the spring up with the back cap. Gotta press a little bit hard here till the thread's set. There we go. And that's it. You just want to snug it down, make sure it's tight. There we go. And we just take it apart. So let's go ahead and start putting it back together again. Now, one of the most important things when you start putting it back together is your trigger spring. You want to make sure that your trigger spring is pressed up against the body. Okay, so we drop the body back down into place. Now, the biggest thing here, you just want to make sure that, especially your trigger switch wire, is not stuck out into the, you know, is not sticking into the crease here, so when you put the two halves together, you don't pinch a wire. So now we're just paying a little extra attention to the trigger spring here, making sure that it's pressing flat. And there it is. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and make sure that our battery wire is routed properly. Okay. And we got to just double check some wires along the back here, make sure there is no pinched wires. There we go. Now let me tell you, we have not done a whole heck of a lot of maintenance on these guns. Now remember I showed you the rail across the top? There we go. If you use a good thick type of lube, I mean, I don't think you need to do this level of maintenance except for maybe once every maybe 5-10 cases maybe. It definitely doesn't require a lot of maintenance. I typically like thicker lubes for that reason. You know, I know a lot of people like the thinner lubes and stuff like that, but typically if you go with a thicker lube, you know, you got the like the Hater Marmalade is one of my favorites. Lurker Lube is another one of my favorites. Monkey Poo is really nice. There's quite a few lubes that you know, that are a little bit thicker, and they seem to stay in place a little bit longer, and they do a better job of sealing any potential leaks. So, all right, cool. So we got the battery harness out, and let's go ahead and grab. Since we already got it apart, let's go ahead and grab a fresh 9-volt. You guys saw the Battery Store USA battery commercial that I put up. Great deals on 9-volts. It's where I get all of my 9-volts. Tammy's a good girl. Take good care of her. BatteryStoreUSA.com. There we go. Let's find those big screws, which are right here. Let's grab them. Okay, so now let's go ahead and weigh it. Now we've just got the basic, you know, about as basic as you can possibly get. Set up here just the barrel and the gun. Now you can imagine if you start adding car stocks and shrouds and stuff like that, it's going to weigh a little bit more, but 2 pounds, 14 ounces. 2 pounds, 14 ounces. Not too heavy of a gun. Definitely not the heaviest mil-sim gun I've come across, but it's got a little bit of weight to it. And so let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and put the camera back and do a conclusion. Okay, now one thing we didn't get into was efficiency tests. It doesn't matter, everybody complains about our efficiency test everywhere. My gun gets 10 times as much anyway. From what I saw with these guns, you will get about as much efficiency, not any more, not any less than you would with any other dump valve gun like a G3 or something like that. So, you know, efficiency, you know, if you're looking for poppet style efficiency, you're not going to get it out of these, okay? But if you're looking for, you know, quietness and, you know, something that's going to be a little quieter out there than some of the poppets and also is going to be a little more gentle on paint, Inspire BFG is going to be the way to go. But I would not be out there, you know, using a 13 cubic inch tank with these, okay? I would definitely recommend 68 cubic inch tanks, 70 cubic inch tanks, you know, when you're using the Inspire BFG. But let's go ahead and talk about a conclusion. So what do I think of the guns? They're good shooters. They're really good shooters. And like I said, these guns, we beat the hell out of these guns. And we passed them around to all our friends. Very few of them had any experience in paintball. As a matter of fact, my cousin Michael Arbide used, I believe, probably which one's the dirtiest? This one at Living Legends. And, you know, I think he's only played paintball just a couple of times. And he loved it. So they shoot great, they're quiet, they're accurate, the eye system works on it. If there is one drawback about the gun is that as of right now, the boards that are coming in them at the time of release of this video, I know they're coming out, you know, coming out with them, but the boards do not have a adjustable rate of fire cap. It's 15 and 15. So semi-auto, I believe it'll shoot up to 22 if you can shoot that fast with one finger, but in you know, in the burst or the full auto mode, the fastest you're only going to get 15 balls per second, and that's it. So that may be a problem with some fields that may have maybe 12 balls per second cap, you know, 13 balls per second cap. Just keep that in mind that at the time of release of this video, that the only rate of fire cap they had is 15. Now, when they come out with them, I'll put an edit, you know, a little dialogue box on the video saying they just released them. But as of right now, 15 balls per second. That's probably the only major downfall that I see about, you know, with these guns. And trigger feels good on them. It's a nice positive spring back trigger. You know, that's one of my personal favorite trigger designs. Short, easy to pull trigger pull, nice and light. They feel really good in the hands. You know, they're good shooting guns. I mean, if you especially people that have maybe shot, you know, if you've got a Tippmann, you know, just a bone stock A5, and you've got some accessories in it and you're looking to get something that's got a little more, you know, a little faster rate of fire than a mechanical trigger, definitely take a look at the Inspires. As of right now, I believe they're selling right around between $250 to $350 for them for a couple of different models. My personal favorite setup when I was out there in the woods was something to the effect of this. Basic gun, basic barrel, you know, try to get it as light as possible. But you know, these guns shoot great. It's got a good regulator on it. Like I said, the regulator that are on these is very much like the Alias regulator. It is a top performing regulator. It's very fast recharge, very consistent over the chronographs. You know, just make sure that you're feeding this gun good paint. It's very important. If you're putting junk paint in here, guns aren't going to shoot as well. But we've been feeding this gun nothing but good quality paint. You know, RPS Premium, Shooting Evil over at Living Legends, and I don't think either one of these have broken a single ball, and we've got at least 10 cases through each one of them. So obviously the detents are working, the eyes are working, the you know, the gun's electronics are working. No broken paint with either one of these yet, and we shot the hell out of these. So I would definitely give these guns a good look if you're looking for a gun. You know, obviously one of my personal favorite guns is the SP1 Blackheart. They don't make it anymore. This is a good alternative to the SP1 Blackheart. You know, it just looks great, feels great in the hands, shoots great. You can see the videos on them. It's got almost a bulletproof chassis, holds the board, holds all of the internals on basically almost a bulletproof chassis. They're setting these guns on fire, they're throwing them out of buildings, and they're not breaking. So it's got all the ruggedness that people are going to need. I mean, I think you'll break limbs before you break these guns. But you know, I got a chance to play with Linus at Living Legends 3. He's an amazing paintball player. He's one of the head guys over at Inspire. Linus at Inspire. He's got great customer service. I pretended to have that I had a broken gun. I shipped it over to him just to see how quickly it took to replace, you know, to repair them. Fast return, you know, turnaround time on the service and stuff like that. So I got nothing but good things to really say about the Inspire, except for the fact that, you know, the boards out of the box right now are not coming with a adjustable rate of fire cap. But other than that, everything about this gun is great. It's a great, consistent, solid performing marker out there on the field. And the thing I really like about it is you buy it, and let's say for instance you upgrade and go to a different gun and you hang on to this. This gun is very simple to use and it's very easy. You can hand this off to your friends that may not know a lot about paintball, and it's got a nice big one button operation. The button's huge so they know to turn it on. It's got a nice bright LED, tells you that it's on. And you know, anybody with very little paintball experience can take this out there and go shoot up a lot of people. So definitely go check out Inspire's website. I believe it's inspire.com. They build a great woods ball marker. Thanks for tuning in.
Don't stop, Florida. Don't stop. Don't stop, Florida. Don't stop. Don't stop, Florida. Don't stop. Don't stop.